Ooh, what a busy day. What a busy week previewing the 49ers and the Lions. We're almost at that time for the NFC Championship game. By the way, I'm going to delve into Lions offense against the 49ers defense today. We're going to talk about some of the defensive issues the 49ers need to fix, such as their defense against these crack toss plays, which gave him so much trouble against Green Bay. There's Aaron Jones running away with it, but Charvarius Ward running down the 49ers season. What a play by Charvarius Ward. Told me his back was cramping up on this play. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. But first, let's just talk about the stadium. I spoke to several 49ers players today, including Christian McCaffrey, including Mooney Ward, Dre Greenlaw. All of them said that was the loudest that they had ever heard Levi Stadium. Now, Christian also told me that he had blacked out after his 39-yard touchdown, but at other times he said it was the loudest that he heard it. Dre Greenlaw, it's a common thread. Guys black out when they're making a play. So Dre Greenlaw blacked out when he was running back his interceptions, as you could tell from his decision making and not going down. Actually, the real story there is that he wanted to get a pick six, but it's all fun and games now because he didn't fumble afterward. But anyway, that place was rocking, and Kyle Shanahan made it a point today when there was a reporter from out of town or something, asked him, how important is the 12th man? And Kyle Shanahan goes, well, first off, we don't call it the 12th man here. Classic little Seattle reference there. But then he said, yeah, the crowd is really, really important. And I think he went off on 4 or 5 sentences talking about how loud he wants it to be for this game on Sunday. And then when I asked Dre Greenlaw about it, he said that the Green Bay offense was barely able to function, that it was so loud on that last drive. I mean, Jordan Love looked terrible throwing back across his body. But that, I think if you had a sound meter, decibel meter, whatever they call it, on Levi Stadium, that probably was the loudest that it's ever been. They're in year 10 now of Levi Stadium. I don't think we had heard it louder than it was against Green Bay on Saturday. And the 49ers really, really want it to be that loud or even louder again on Sunday for the NFC Championship game against the Lions, because the 49ers defense, I think, might need a little bit of a boost. Take a look at this. This to me is concerning. Not the crack toss play. That's concerning too. But this, weeks 1 to 11, before Talanoa Hufanga's injury, the 49ers defense was the number 5 unit in the league by EPA per play. Since Hufanga's injury, they've ranked number 22. The run defense has actually gotten a little bit better, but it's been bad throughout the whole year. It's the pass defense that's taken a real tumble for the 49ers. And you play a Detroit offense that's ranked number 5. The offense is this top right. Number 5 in the league, DVOA. Number 7 pass offense. Number 4 run offense, especially that run offense against a run defense that's number 22. I mean, hell, even the pass offense just outside the top 5 against what's been a number 18 pass defense. That spells a little bit of trouble for the 49ers. What these rankings tell me is that San Francisco is going to want every single edge possible in this matchup. So the title of this video is, should the 49ers be concerned about their defense versus Jared Goff's Lions? Yeah, I think the 49ers need to be concerned. You need to make sure that the Lions can't do something like this against you. And Detroit runs really, really damn effectively. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is fast. I'll put that on the bottom of the screen. David Montgomery is big. He can bruise. He can also score from anywhere. I mean, both of those backs can really do a number on you. And the 49ers need to make sure that they've taken care of the crack toss play. Now, if you look, let's watch this one more time. We could even slow it down a little bit. Whose fault is everything? I don't think the 49ers set a very good edge. Chase Young got washed out right away there. Dre Greenlaw, they got a hat on a hat. That's a good Green Bay offensive line. But Logan Ryan is the player who takes the bad angle here. It's a slow angle from Logan Ryan, 33. I paused it, so don't worry, your internet's not skipping, but I paused it. But Logan Ryan needs to seal off that hole. Instead, Aaron Jones can just cut right by him. And at this point, it's just a fire drill. Charvarius Ward has to run him down, back cramping and all. So today, Steve Wilkes had an interesting comment. He said, it's not as much about the edge defenders, even though obviously Bosa and Chase Young didn't have a great game in that regard. It's about the back 4, the back 5 of this defense taking better angles. And that was a really bad angle from Logan Ryan. Not good tape there for the 49ers. Will Jair Brown start instead of him in this game? I think it's actually possible. I think Jair Brown had the rookie had a knee sprain late in the year. And then the 49ers decided to not play him in week 18. And then I think they said, okay, we don't want him to be rusty coming into the postseason with hardly any practice. Let's get a couple weeks of practice back under his belt after he's healthy. So they erred on the side of veteran caution in the divisional round. They said, we're entering the playoffs. Green Bay's a young team. Why don't we make sure that we've got some accomplished vets out there? And so they went with Logan Ryan on the defensive side of the ball at safety. And they also went with John Feliciano on the offensive side of the ball. Now, Feliciano really paid off. He had the big block on Christian McCaffrey's game-winning touchdown. But Logan Ryan didn't play a great game, especially against the run. And I think that the 49ers might go with higher upside now that he's had more practice in Jair Brown once things get underway on Sunday. 3:30 p.m. And yes, I have it right underneath me. Jahmyr Gibbs is fast. He's the Lions' second running back. David Montgomery has gotten most of the carries. Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie, can run. He can run. So 4.3 speed across the board here for Gibbs. Like, it doesn't matter what situation he's in. He could run fast. He could run fast laterally. He could run fast slashing vertically. 49ers defense is really, really going to have to step up that performance against the run, because you talk about Jared Goff, the Lions quarterback, and these are his splits. And let me get a Jared Goff title up there. There. His kryptonite has been when he's been under pressure. Look at his ranks from a clean pocket. 4th completion percentage, 9th in yards per attempt, 2nd in EPA per play, and then 25 touchdown passes, ranks 4th. The EPA per play drops from 2nd to 18th for Jared Goff from when he's in a clean pocket to when he's under pressure. That is a significant drop-off, and it's the type of drop-off that we've seen from Jared Goff over his entire career. His last 5 games against the 49ers have all been losses, 0-5, and he's been sacked something like, I forgot how many times, a lot of sacks, but he just hasn't been efficient. I still remember when Javon Kinlaw notched the pick 6 off of Jared Goff, 2020 season. Big story on that, by the way. And Javon Kinlaw and Eric Armstead dropping tomorrow in the Athletic. So brace yourselves, prepare for that. But anyway, Goff under pressure against the 49ers has been bad news Bears. It's a Cal reference. Bad news Golden Bears. It's been bad news Bears, and the 49ers have ridden that to several victories over this quarterback. I don't think there is a bigger delta, bigger difference of any quarterback in the league between being pressured and not being pressured and efficiency. Jared Goff's efficiency when not pressured is so good. His efficiency when pressured is terrible, or bad at the very least. So let's sit back and watch how this plays out. A lot of people are saying, well, the 49ers didn't get a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. No, they got some pressure on Jordan Love. They didn't get as much visible and effective pressure, though, because I think that the surface was a little bit wet, and they had guys slipping on the back end, too. At the end of the day, though, they held Green Bay to, 21 points? Yeah, they held Green Bay to 21 points. That was a team that had dropped 48 on Dallas's vaunted defense the weekend before. So you can't measure everything by sacks. Jordan Love did a good job getting the ball out. He moved around well. You measure things by the results and by the defensive effectiveness. At the end of the day, I think the results were decent for the 49ers pass rush. Javon Hargrave pushed the left guard out of the way and had an awesome pressure that led to a red zone stop. The 49ers got better in the red zone, right? It was a bend but don't break thing. I do think that Jared Goff is easier to sack than Jordan Love. And I also do think that this offensive line for the Detroit Lions is not nearly as good in pass protection as the offensive line for the Green Bay Packers, which was number 2 in pass block win rate. On top of that, there's going to be no left guard Jonah Jackson for Detroit. So look out for Javon Hargrave again. Frank Ragnow, who's the center, is dealing with a knee and an ankle sprain. So look out for Hargrave. Look out for anybody up the interior for the 49ers. I think that in this game, dry track, worse offensive line and a worse quarterback as far as evading pressure in Jared Goff, I think the 49ers could be in for a nice day along their D-line. Now, the coverage has got to fuel the rush, and the 49ers have to figure out their biggest weakness on defense, and that was the third cornerback position. Ambry Thomas is playing with a little bit of a cast on his hand. He obviously gave up a couple big pass interference penalties. Jared Goff, if all else fails, wouldn't be surprising to me to see him just try to go PI hunting. We've seen quarterbacks go PI hunting against the 49ers in the past, right? All the time in 2021 when they had all those defensive pass interference flags, but also against the Packers. Jordan Love went PI hunting, and it worked for him against Ambry Thomas 2 times. So it's incumbent on the back end for the 49ers to be good enough to dissuade Jared Goff from going PI hunting, or if he does go PI hunting, pick that ball off or don't commit the flag. Don't commit that penalty. That's the big key for the 49ers in this football game. And I think it only happens if they can somehow slow down the run, which is why I'm going to play this over and over and over again. You cannot let Detroit start doing this to you to the perimeter behind Penei Sewell. He's at right tackle, so that was a run, obviously, to the left side. That would be Taylor Decker's side. But you cannot let a play like this repeat itself. Green Bay did too much damage running the football, and the 49ers were able to get away with it thanks to the rain, thanks to the fact that Jordan Love threw that terrible pick early in the fourth quarter that got deflected up in the air into Dre Greenlaw's hands. But if dry conditions, Detroit is able to run the way that we saw in that video, Jared Goff it's going to be tough to bother Jared Goff. And if you can't bother Jared Goff, then the stats on the top apply. Then you're dealing with a top 5 efficiency guy. And the 49ers don't want to be dealing with a top 5 efficiency guy. It's going to be very imperative for the 49ers to stop that run so they can have some fun going after Jared Goff. Now you look around at the weapons. Are we going to see Charvarius Ward working at Amon-Ra St. Brown? That's the top Detroit Lions receiver. He's got over 1,500 yards, USC product. In games where the 49ers have played teams with a true alpha receiver like this, such as the Seattle game with DK Metcalf on Thanksgiving night, John Lynch even stepped into the defensive meeting room and said, hey, Charvarius Ward is going to need to follow DK Metcalf around. And Charvarius was up to the challenge. Is he going to be following Amon-Ra around? We'll see. That's a big question for me in this game. The second most targeted weapon for the Lions is Sam Laporta, the tight end, the rookie out of Iowa. And it makes me wonder, because they'll run Laporta on a lot of receiver-like stuff. It makes me wonder, will the 49ers put Isaiah Oliver into this game? That could be a good way to solve your third cornerback thing, because Isaiah Oliver obviously has been benched. We haven't seen him against the shiftier slot receivers, but at times this year we had seen him against bigger tight ends in receiver-like roles because he's a bigger body, and that's the kind of matchup the 49ers might like. So if you see Laporta in the slot in this game, might you see Isaiah Oliver as the counter? Because then you could keep Diamaro Lenore and Charvarius Ward on the outside against the wideouts for this Detroit Lions team, especially considering the struggles that we saw from Ambry Thomas last week. So questions abound, that's for sure. But I do think that the 49ers do have a big advantage on the interior against the Detroit Lions, and that can turn into pressuring Jared Goff. But no Jonah Jackson at left guard is a big deal in this football game. Still, Detroit can get away with everything if they can highlight Jahmyr Gibbs' speed, if they can stop the run. The 49ers really, really need to be on their P's and Q's in that regard. Anyway, that's the 49ers defense against the Detroit offense. Remember, back to this, I think Detroit has a statistical advantage in this game. I think that in this matchup right here, I think overall the 49ers have the advantage, and I would favor the 49ers to win. But they might have to win in more of a shootout-like fashion unless that defense gets back to its weeks 1 to 11 self, which, according to some of this data, might be hard without Talanoa Hufanga, who apparently was more important than people gave him credit for. Who would have known? An All-Pro last year was important to the 49ers defense. So we'll see which unit shows up, but they've been missing tackles. They haven't been good against the run lately. The pass rush obviously seems to be leaving something to be desired, and that's because I think it's tied to the run defense not being as good as it has been in the past. So it's time for the 49ers to put up or shut up on defense, because they're going to be in a tricky situation in at least one of these next 2 games, assuming they can win this one if they can't do better run defense. I mean, even if it's enough to beat the Lions this week, and I don't know because the Lions are top 5 run offense, even if their poor run defense is enough to win this week, poor run defense not going to get it done against Baltimore, obviously a really, really good run offense, and Kansas City, a team that's revamped its offense to run with Isaiah Pacheco and company. So run defense might be the key to the 49ers season moving forward, to the point where I'll just put stop the run down at the bottom of the screen. All right, time to answer some of your questions. Mike asks, how important was Farrell in setting the edge? I think he was a good player. Now, remember, Steve Wilkes said that he doesn't think it's all like primarily on Bosa and Chase Young, the edge setting stuff and the runs, the crack tosses. He said that the back end needs to tackle better. So Farrell was a valuable player for the 49ers. He was doing a good job in that, but the 49ers need to look at this holistically, not just only at the defensive line. He is done for the season, yes. Will the 49ers blitz when they normally don't? There might be some surprise attacks. I don't think it will be that heavy of a blitz game. I think Jared Goff is a good processor in those situations. I think it's when the pressure comes from unexpected spots because you start winning up front is when Jared Goff struggles. I think if you're bringing straight blitzes, he can beat him. So you're going to have to catch him off guard if you do blitz in this game. Lions plus grass equals disaster. History has proven this. Yeah, they haven't been very good in their history coming out of the Dome over in Detroit. That being said, they beat the 49ers in 1957 at Kezar, which was on grass. Cleveland Farrell was proving the value of the KKRS, the Chris Kocurek Reclamation Service. That's a good one. Speaking of Chris Kocurek, I got a big article on Armstead and Kinlaw coming out tomorrow. I'll talk to Chris Kocurek with it, so be sure to check it out. Yeah, I know you're talking about this season, but the Lions historically haven't been good well, they haven't been good historically in general, but outside of Detroit, even worse. I personally would start Jair Brown because I thought he impressed the 49ers down the stretch, but it just depends on how they're practicing. So if they think that they're more comfortable with Logan Ryan than Jair Brown at practice, then that's what I would go with. That's something that I'm not privy to right now. This is a good one right here. Demo looked really good blitzing last week. You know, he's built to be a nickelback. And he comes into the nickel on the passing situations. That Diamaro Lenoir's natural position, I think, is that nickelback spot. Because he's a hyena, right? He calls himself a hyena. He can really attack when he's a nickel. It's like a glorified linebacker position. We know he can cover. That's great. But he can attack. He can hit people. He could be in there on the nitty gritty of run support. And he could blitz a lot more from nickel. So, yeah, he was very effective last week. And it'll be interesting to see what the 49ers do with him this time around. What's the over-under on sacks on Jared Goff? I would set it at 3.5. Over 3.5 or under 3.5? What do you guys think? Does Moody have the leg to kick the ball out of the end zone? Well, he didn't on the big Packers return. That was supposed to be out of the end zone. The 49ers weren't scheming that to be a corner kick. So, better conditions this time. You'd hope that it's not too windy. We'll see what Jake Moody has, but it's NFC Championship game. Everything is magnified in terms of importance, especially special teams. Enough people around here know the legend of Kyle Williams, the tragedy of Kyle Williams, I guess I should say. John Brody was on that 57 team. That's great knowledge. The 57 49ers who lost to the Lions, who blew the lead. I did the video from Kezar this week. Go for Broke has some great little factoids, and I did not think that John Brody was on that football team. I knew that Y.A. Tittle threw 3 touchdowns in the first half. I knew that Frankie Albert, old lefty, was the head coach. I did not know that John Brody was a rookie that year. You don't talk about Kyle Williams. Unfortunately, we already did. I'm sure the show, I'll look at the data after the show and there'll be a dip in viewers the second that I mention Kyle Williams. Not this week. 49ers have PTSD from that. Debo might be playing. I wouldn't say for sure, but I think that the signs are trending toward that. Mike asks, do I think that Baltimore semi broke the 49ers by having their linebackers clog the middle and occupy landmarks where Purdy tends to throw intermediate passes? No, I think he just made the 49ers adjust. And I think that they were ready to adjust, but Purdy just wasn't accurate with the wet ball against Green Bay. And I think Green Bay tried to operate some of Baltimore's principles, but Purdy just he executed at the end, right? If it was such a foolproof strategy from Green Bay, it would have worked throughout the whole game, and it didn't. So, I mean, maybe we'll see a 49ers Ravens rematch, but first we have to see 49ers Lions. And Detroit does not have good corners. They've both struggled this year. Detroit is the pass defense is middle of the pack at best. The safeties are better than the corners. The nickel's good, Brian Branch. But I think that this is absolutely an opportunity for the 49ers to rack up some points on Sunday. Yep. And Ragnow, the center, has sprained his knee and his ankle, and their left guard, Jonah Jackson, is not going to play in this game. Did I eat In and Out today? No, I had a burrito. Is the 49ers' current defense good enough to take out KC or Baltimore? I mean, defense playing at number 22 efficiency would be tough, but I think the 49ers offense is good enough to win in a shootout against teams. So, yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. I think the defense needs to be playing a little bit better. But we'll see how they fare here. Hey, Detroit is no slouch offensively. Detroit's the number 5 offense in the league. That actually has a higher DVOA than Kansas City this year. So defense is going to be put to the test now. No reason to worry about Baltimore or Kansas City yet. When was the last time I had In and Out? I'm so busy these days, it's hard to remember. Probably sometime last week, maybe even longer than that, though. It's a really good question. I'm about to go through the credit card receipts. Mike says, smash that like button. Harbaugh coming back to California. Do the 49ers get the 35 points in this game? 35 plus. Well, I'm going to have my video, do the 49ers beat the Lions tomorrow, but I'm not going to give my score prediction yet. That's going to come on Saturday. I will tell you that my prediction, it's already in my head. It's close to 35 points. I don't know if it's over or if it's under. So you just have to wait and see. I can tell you this. I'm not going to predict 31. 31 is not the number in my head. That's the only hint I can give you guys. Is it possible the 49ers run some 5-man front this Sunday against the Lions? I think so. They've ran 5-man front this year to set the tone against the run, kind of that bear front. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that again, at least on certain downs. Remember, the 5-man front is what the 49ers used this year to turn around the season in a way. They had struggled defending the run going into the bye week, and then they played that was against Cincinnati. Then they had the bye. Then they played Jacksonville, and they lined up in a 5-man front early in Jacksonville, cut off the rushing lanes, and that set up Trevor Lawrence to just not have a comfortable game. They also disguised the coverages really well on the back end. That was a game that you made Trevor Lawrence hitch several times and let the pass rush hit. That was the hell of a performance for the 49ers defense. I wonder if they attack with the same kind of vigor in this game, and maybe it does start with that 5-man rush. But the defense has been not nearly as good since week 12. The Jacksonville game was week 10. That might have been the peak of the 49ers defense. They played really well against Jacksonville. The left side of I was mentioning this in general a little bit earlier. I think the Lions are better at run blocking than they are pass blocking. Left tackle and left guard. Left guard is out. That's Jonah Jackson. But Taylor Decker at left tackle has given up 9 sacks this year. A lot of that sacks are in many ways a quarterback stat because QBs can evade sacks, QBs can feel sacks, QBs can throw the ball quickly to make sure the sack doesn't have chance to get home. And Jared Goff is not mobile. Jared Goff is not good under pressure. And obviously Taylor Decker has given up some of that pressure and his left guard is hurt. So this game, there's opportunity written all over it for the 49ers defense as far as that matchup goes. Now, I think that the better opportunity for the 49ers is their offense against Detroit's pass defense. But if you have more than one opportunity on the field, then you have a decent chance to win because you want to capitalize on as many as possible. So you'd rather have as many opportunities as possible. Mark thinks that Chase Young is going to have a good game. I think Chase was good pressuring the quarterback this past game. I don't think neither he nor Bosa had good games against the crack toss on the edge. That being said, the back end has to do its job too. The center is hurt too, but Frank Ragnow is going to play. So yes, to answer your question. This is a good stat. Brock Purdy, 3 games without Deebo Samuel last year. 70% completion, 6-2 touchdown to interception, 3-0, 32 points per game. I think I think they're going to have Deebo Samuel. It's trending that way. But I think the key thing is knowing what you're going to get over the course of the practice week. Losing him midstream was what really hurt the 49ers against the Lions or against the Packers last week. So one thing about Kyle Shanahan, there's nothing wrong with trying to lap the opponent. Analytics loves lapping the opponent. I think that trying to lap the opponent is not always playing it too safe. You're just trying to strategically lap the opponent. So sometimes you got to take off the gas. Sometimes you have to hit the gas to try to lap the opponent. So it's not too safe or too aggressive. It's just about finding the right balance. And against the Packers, the 49ers were the highest probability scenario there was to kick the field goal. And Shanahan said they had built in a deeper shot, but Purdy checked it down, and it was good that he did because he didn't want to force the ball further downfield. So Shanahan built in a downfield shot. It wasn't like he didn't build in that aggressiveness late in the first half. They just didn't see the defensive look to go for it. So I think that Shanahan's actually, he's riding a fine line here. And you can't argue with the ultimate results. At the end of the day, the 49ers have lapped a lot of opponents and they've won a lot of games. Some games it works out. Some games stuff goes wrong like it did here. Like the defense that they saw from the Packers didn't allow them to go downfield. So they had to settle for the field goal. Jake Moody missed the kick. It's okay. I mean, in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, the 49ers took that shot. Jimmy Garoppolo threw a perfect pass to George Kittle, but they called the offensive pass interference. So they couldn't get points at the end of the first half. So it hasn't been for a lack of aggressiveness in some of these failed situations from Kyle Shanahan. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work out the way that the 49ers want it to work out. And that's what football is. It's about organizing chaos. Sometimes you'll organize it, sometimes you won't. The team that best organizes the chaos is going to win the NFC title game. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. This was fun. We went 30 minutes. We took a look at the 49ers against the Lions. It is going to be good. The Lions, number 4 run offense, the number 1 run defense. 49ers going to have to muscle up in the trenches. This has been a look at Detroit's offense against the 49ers defense. We got big features coming out tomorrow. Kinlaw, Armstead. Will the 49ers beat the Lions tomorrow? We got score predictions coming. Oh, did I mention that I visited Candlestick Park again? Got good content coming on that front too. So subscribe to the channel. Go watch the Kezar stuff that I put up. That's the good history that you need for 49ers Lions. And we'll talk to everybody. Actually, before you guys all leave, we'll play one more video. If I could find it. If I could find it, then we will. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I wanted to show you well, you know what I will show you? I'm going to show you the 49ers sandwich from Deli Board since it popped up. There we go. They call it the 49er, literally. I put it up before the Packers game, but those of you who are new viewers, you want your food recommendation, I'll have a lot of them over the next couple days because I finally have some time to chill. Get the 49er from Deli Board. One of the better sandwiches that I've ever had. I will say that. Anyway, I'll show you the Kezar video later. You can look it up on my channel. Talk soon.